Alright, for number 11, in the figure below, line E is going to be parallel to line C. So we have these two lines that are parallel. So let's go ahead and mark them. Now, as soon as we know these two lines are parallel and we have this line that goes through it, it's going to create a bunch of angle pairs. We're going to have corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, same side interior, and then alternate exterior and vertical angles. So we'll start with the corresponding. Now the directions say list a pair. So I just need one pair. And so there's more than one answer to this, but we'll start with corresponding. So corresponding angles could be 1 and 5. It could also be 3 and 7. Could also be 2 and 6. And it could also have an answer of 4 with 8. And so as you look at the corresponding, angle 2 corresponds with angle 6. You can almost think of it like it slides down and it would go right on top of it. And so the answer I'm going to write here is the last one I wrote, angle 4 and angle 8. So angle 4 and angle 8 are corresponding angles. So now let's take a look at alternate interior angles. Okay, so the alternate interior. So the word alternate means almost like opposite. So the alternate of left would be right, alternate up would be down, and then the word interior means it's going to be between these two lines. So if I look at angle 2, so it's on the left side of this line, so the alternate would be on the right side. And so this one's on the top, so the alternate would be on the bottom. So angle 2 and angle 7 are a pair of alternate interior angles. Also, there's angle 4 with angle 5. So that's the pair I'm going to write, angle 4 and angle 5. So this one had 2 answers, whereas the pair corresponding actually had 4 answers. Let's look at the same side interior. So we'll get rid of this. So we have that word interior again, so it means our answer is going to be somewhere between these two lines. And now they're going to be on the same side of the transversal. So angle 4 and angle 7 are the same side interior. Now I don't actually want to make that mark the same color because I don't want you to think that they're equal. Those two angles are not equal. But angle 4 and angle 7 are same side interior. Same as angle 2 with angle 5. So angle 2 and angle 5 are same side interior. So this one has 2 possible answers. The next one is alternate exterior. So we've seen this word alternate already, but now we have the exterior, so our answer is going to be on the outside. So angle 1 is on the outside, and so now the alternate of left would be right. The alternate of being up here is down here, so it would be 1 and 8. Another pair that would work would be angle 3 with angle 6. And let's look at the last example. Oh, before there was 2 answers here. And now let's do the vertical angles. So vertical angles, also called opposite angles, are 2 angles that are on top of each other. So let's start here, angle 1 and angle angle 4 are vertical. Angle 3 and angle 2 are vertical. Angle 5 goes with angle 8. And finally, angle 7 goes with angle 6. And so I'll write the last one, angle 6 and angle 7, and you can see that there was 4 answers there. All right, and number 12 in the figure below, E is parallel to C, so let's go ahead and indicate that. V is the transversal that goes through the two lines. It says, what do we know about angles 1 and 2? So as you look at angle 1 and 2, first you notice that angle 1 is an acute angle, angle 2 is an obtuse angle, so these two angles are not congruent. So angle 1 is not congruent. To angle 2, so they're not equal. That's one thing we know. But what we just talked about in the last example, if we look at angle 1 and we think about the different types of angle pairs, well, angle 1, if we were to slide it down to right here, these two would be corresponding angles. And so now we know that this angle here has the same measurement of angle 1 because they're corresponding angles and corresponding angles are congruent. And now what happens, these two make a line, and so that means that these two angles have to add up to 180. So since 1 and this are congruent, you can go ahead and imagine that I just slid that down there. And so we know that angle 1 is not equal to angle 2, but we also know that angle 1 and angle 2, I'm not going to say linear pair, but I am going to say that they are supplementary. And the reason I don't call them a linear pair is because in this original drawing they don't touch. So by definition they're not a linear pair, but they are supplementary. So we know these two things about angles 1 and 2. All right, number 13, in the figure below, line E is parallel to line C. So let's go ahead and mark that. And name all angles that are congruent to angle 7. I want to know all the angles that are equal to angle 7. So we have angle 7, and it's going to be congruent to, well, the first one, let's go ahead and look at angle 6. And angle 6 and angle 7 are congruent because of vertical angles. Now let's take a look at angle 7 and angle 3. So angle 7 is congruent to angle 3. So what type of angles are 3 and 7? Because they're corresponding angles. And if the lines are parallel, corresponding angles are congruent. So angle 7 and angle 3 are congruent. Now let's take a look at angle 7 again. And this is going to be congruent to. So notice 7's on the inside of the lines. So that means we're going to have a pair of alternate interior angles. So angle 7 and angle 2, because of alternate interior angles. So I have 7 and 6, I have 7 and 3, I have 7 and 2. So I have three angles that are congruent to angle 7. Number 14, in order to prove that the lines E and C are parallel, you need to know. So I'm not going to put the marks here because I'm trying to show that the lines are parallel. And we know that the lines are parallel when angle 1, when angle 1 and angle 5 are congruent, that means the lines are parallel. When angle 8 is congruent to angle 4, that means the lines are going to be parallel because the corresponding angles. So 1 and 5 and 4 and 8, both of these are an example of corresponding angles. If the corresponding angles are congruent, then the lines are parallel. So now let's look at angle 5. So now, if these two angles add up to 180, this will also make the lines parallel. And so if 5 and 2 add up to 180, that means these two lines are parallel. And the last one would be angle 7 added to angle 4. This is an example of the same side interior. If the angles on the same side interior add up to 180, then the lines are parallel.